live action of the Radical Cup North America, to be precise, as we look at John Field and the rest of the field. That's Alex Papadopoulos, the winner of the last race. And joining me once again in commentary, Tom Drewer, the regional manager of the Radical Sports Cars, and the perfect man to sit and talk about these great cars as we look at Mr. Olsen, who had a great race last time out. But what news afoot have we learned between races?
Well, the big news is in the 1500 class championship. We have a new points leader. So Greg Gorski has leapfrogged over Indy Al Miller. Of course, Miller involved in that incident with Mel Johnson in race 1. He did receive a post-race drive-through penalty applied to the results, so that dropped him down the order. It doesn't affect his starting position for this race because the grid is set by fastest lap times, but it has put a big dent in his championship points. So Greg Gorski now leading that class championship by 3 points. It's really, really close.
Yeah, and this is it, right? I mean, this is the last hurrah.
Well, that's it, and Steve Jenks has also capitalized. So the top 3 in that class now only separated by 7 points. The other thing it's done is into light the outright championship, because I have a feeling still whoever wins that Pro 1500 class will end up winning the outright championship. But Terry Olsen's got his eyes on that one, and actually if we see more of this sort of melee and chaos sort of unfold in the Pro 1500s, Terry Olsen might get lucky enough to take 2 championships away at the end of this weekend.
Well, that would be wild, wouldn't it? Definitely, no question about it. Now, we started talking about what Radicals were all about, and I had no idea until this weekend that there are almost 2,000 of these cars racing around the world. It's been in existence for what, over 20 years now, but that's quite some feat.
It is, and in fact, there's, from what I can work out, around about 600 or 700 of those, believe it or not, are in North America.
Wow.
So an amazing amount. Radical is really the preeminent car at country club racetracks around North America. And, you know, a lot of these drivers started their racing careers at those clubs. And in fact, a number of guys from Spring Mountain here this weekend, but also a lot of different clubs represented. So Autobahn from Chicago, Atlanta Motorsport Park. We've just had a huge influx of Radical racing cars into Arizona as well. Already about 30 down there at Apex. So it's exciting to see.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I think the beauty of these cars is that they go very fast. They're lightweight. They've got a powerful Hayabusa engine in most cases, and they're very lightweight, and so the power to weight ratio is such that you really do get a fast car, but for a very good cost-effective price and a good entry point, because they are forgiving. So you do get guys who've never raced before coming into Radical racing and learning their craft, and basically the mantra is that, you know, if you can race a Radical well, then really it's your doorway to racing pretty much anything else.
Absolutely, and we've seen that with some of the young kids come through. The likes of Jordan Missing, of course, who won race 1. He really learned his craft in Radicals, applied that this year to Formula Regional, or F3 for our international viewers. And so, absolutely, these cars, because they are a mixture of high downforce, yet they still have a lot of mechanical grip, it really is the perfect sports car, if you will, because from a Radical, you're definitely learning all the right techniques, whether that's to take that into GT3 or GT2-esque machinery. Of course, the other way, all of the upper echelons of prototype racing as well.
Now, the cars are made in Peterborough, I think, in England, and are they... is there a road-going version?
Well, there is. So we actually don't sell a road-going version here in North America, although I must admit there's quite a few RXCs that seem to have tags on the back of them, which is pretty cool. So that's like the big closed cockpit car that you see Conrad Park in this weekend. There he is on cue through the middle of the screen. And the safety car just starting its second lap. So race director Todd Snyder just choosing to do 2 laps just to make sure everyone's got plenty of temperature in the tyres. He actually he read the riot act to the drivers after what was, let's face it, a dog breakfast in race 1. So hopefully we'll get some good side-by-side formation as they come to the green next time by.
Well, Tom, while we've got an extra lap of pace car, why don't we just do some marketing here? Let's say I'm watching here and I fancy either myself or my son or daughter to get into this. How do I go about it?
Well, the easiest thing is just to look on our website, radicalsportscars.com, go to the dealer page and find out where your nearest dealer is. We've got 10 across North America, so there's typically one near a big city centre near you, and it's really easy to get involved because these cars are so versatile, whether that's for track days like Chin Motorsports and various clubs that we see going around the country. We mentioned the country clubs, of course, and then NASA SCCA racing as well. So wherever you're starting at and whatever you're affiliated with, however you want to embark on your motorsport career, you can do it in a Radical. And then, of course, once you feel comfortable, step on up and have a go against the best in the country in the Blue Marble Cocktails Radical Cup North America Series.
And I mean, if I'm like 15 or 16 and I've done a bit of karting, or, you know, I've shown some bit of interest, I mean, how hard would it be to step up into something like this?
Oh, very easy. In fact, I think from a karter's perspective, I mean, this is like a big go-kart, and you can already see here now the field is doing a good job. Look at this; they're forming up early, side by side on the back straight. But yeah, a karter would jump into this like you know, and take to it like duck to water. I mean, these cars are fantastic. They're all analog, so you know, they're a real driver's car, and that's what makes them so fantastic for learning racecraft, learning the skills that you need. Bigger, better things, like we mentioned, John Faub in race 1.
So here we go, brilliant stuff. They are lined up in 2x2, better than they were for the previous race for sure. So we've got a much better lined up field for this second Radical race of the day. Delighted to welcome Tom Drew into the booth with me to enjoy this race. And it's the final race of their weekend and of their season as well here at Road Atlanta. The pace car comes off, and now the cars are in control. The front, that is, of this race. And everybody behaving nicely. The green flag waves in front of me. And away they go. Starting to accelerate over the line.
And already 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide perhaps. So this is fantastic stuff, and you can see guys jockeying for position down in the pack. Conrad Park there on the outside around turn 1. He's got a couple of SR3s. Look at that. Oh, they're getting close there.
But Papadopoulos does the business and gets the lead again. There's Olsen in second place.
Yeah, Olsen.
37 is Field.
Oh, you can see how much Field's pushing on this opening lap. The tyres still aren't up to temperature. And behind them, look at that. Having a go at the back of the SR8s, Jordan Missig in the 48 machine, the young gun from Autobahn Country Club, and Judd Miller having a look at Terry Olsen.
Well, Judd Miller's got the bit between his teeth for this race because he missed out when it finished under safety after a crash last time out, so he'll want to race as hard as he can against Olsen and the rest of the pack as they dive through 7 now and head down the back straight for the first time, starting to form some groups, if you will, and some slipstreaming to try and get themselves an advantage down this long straight down towards turn 10. And it's Papadopoulos.
Don't those V8s just absolutely spread out, the V8 power really coming to the forefront there as they streak away from the 1500s and the 1340s. Judd Miller in front of Terry Olsen through 10.
Papadopoulos building on his lead already. And just a look at his first lap, and that was a 1:24, so they're on the pace already as through goes the 64. He made a place up, Judd Miller, at turn 10, and he's using it and starting to pull away from the leader. But what a battle we've got going on here at the front. John Field is really chasing down hard on Papadopoulos here in the opening stages of this one. Still a long way to go yet.
Well, this has been a fantastic start. I tell you what, the guys did a good job side by side, and it's creating some great racing throughout the field. I've just noticed Indy Al Miller, he's up behind Jordan Missig, so that's for the lead of the 1500 class, and that's for championship points. Al Miller now needs to find his way back in front of Greg Gorski, and at the moment there's quite a few positions between the pair. So Al Miller needs to make amends for race 1. He's doing it on screen. See, I think that's one of the local cars. It is. I think that's the 44 of Ping. Yeah, Jeff Ping going through the screen. So he's been in the wars this weekend. You can see a few different body colours on the on his car.
Yeah, we've had a few contacts now and again and a few turnarounds, but they're still out there battling. And here they come again. Oh, that's a change of lead. And John Field goes through.
Well, look at it, they're all going through.
Well,
so
Papadopoulos has got a problem for sure.
Absolutely, Papadopoulos, something has gone amiss in that older SR8. The brand new one, so on song and going up over that 3 and into the high-speed S's.
So John Field now leads this race. Papadopoulos has drifted back. Great opportunity for Judd Miller in second place, and he's diving all over it now.
Well, look at that. So it almost looks like Papadopoulos' car. I wonder if that's an intermittent problem. No, look at that. It's slowing again, isn't it?
So do you think he's lost a gear?
I don't know. He's weaving around a little bit, is he?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's
definitely taking some strange lines.
Something is amiss, certainly, in that car. That's really hard luck for that youngster.
He is not comfortable at all. The way he went into 7 there. And 44 now coming through shot. Jeff Ping, the man you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, one of our locals here, involved with Atlanta Motorsport Park, and I think the Drivers Club at Road Atlanta too, so he's got plenty of laps around here, but relatively new to radical racing and racing in general, and he's got 2 sons that have also got cars, and they're having a lot of fun. He said it's just awesome to be out here this weekend. So we see the leaders again start another lap.
This is a close race. Judd Miller, I said he got the bit between his teeth, and he's showing it now in second place in that all-American flag car. Yeah,
the Texan, the reigning champion. I don't think he's going to repeat that feat this year. Terry Olson, also a former champion in this class. Of course, John Field, a former America Le Mans Series champion.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty high caliber of driver in this field. And I tell you what, there is in the 1500 class as well.
So great racing so far.
And there's the leader of that class. So Jordan Missig in the 48 machine coming through. Al Miller, we just saw a glimpse of him. And we can see there the leaders, Al Miller second and Steve Jenks third in that class.
So really exciting start to this one, and a much cleaner start, but sadly for Papadopoulos, he just drifted off, and there's something mechanical with that car going wrong, because he has gone right backwards, having led strongly for both the first race and the first part of this race, but he's disappeared, unfortunately.
So you can see on screen behind Al Miller, and it looks like he's closing. Oh, we've got a car in the gravel.
At 10B, yes. He's just outside the gravel, so let's hope he can get it restarted and get it back going. But no, he's facing the wrong way.
I think that might be Jordan Missig, is it? Can't quite see. It's hard with the sun and the glare.
Yeah, no, it's just shining on it the wrong way. But either way, I think it's going to bring out a safety car.
Do you know what? It is. I've just checked the timing. Unbelievable. Winner from race 1, young gun Jordan Missig. And he's thrown it off in turn 10 in the gravel. Devastating for him. But now Indy Al Miller in charge of the Pro 1500 class from Steve Jenks. Palmer Miller, no relation to Al. He's actually Judd Miller's son.
All right.
And then it's Gerhard Watzinger and Greg Gorski in that class.
Well, he has righted it and got it going again, so it means we can keep going, and then there's no need, I don't think, to get the safety car out, which is good.
Well, that'll be a relief for some. Perhaps not John Field, though, because he's got his mirrors full still of Judd Miller. He was probably looking for a breather.
Yes, exactly. So, plenty high action here at Road Atlanta, here in our Radical coverage, the Radical Cup of North America. Tom Drew bringing you the action with me, Jonathan Green, and it's been fast and furious. We started the day with the Radicals, and what do they do between races? What can they do between races for these cars?
Well, obviously it's a race car, so you need to prep it, and I was just looking there. One of the men that had a lot of work to do between the races was Eric Wagner. He, of course, was involved in an incident at the top of turn 3. He's leading the Pro 1340 class from Chris Kemp at the moment. And then it's Jeff Ping. But in terms of what you do, obviously just check over the car. I mean, they're very reliable, but look, this is a hard and fast racetrack. There's some curbs that you can bounce over. You just really want to make sure the wheel alignment's still right. Oh, as I say,
wasn't right.
No, that was a huge hit. So that front right
Al Miller,
upright, yeah, and that front right upright's taken a beating then. But mainly it's just refuel it. Obviously, check your fuel levels, make sure the weights are right. The drivers have 8 tyres that they can utilise from qualifying through the 3 races. So a little bit of management there. But honestly, the main thing that everyone will be doing is checking their data, their video systems, and just trying to extract a few more tenths out of their lap times. And one man that has is Al Miller, but I've got to say, Steve Jenks on screen, the rookie for the season, he can taste an opportunity here to win this championship outright. He hasn't, you know, this is for the championship, not just this race win. We have got one more race tomorrow.
What could trip him up, though?
Well, the real big worry would be just having it off like Jordan Missig did, because that's going to drop you so far down the order that the points be too much to overcome.
Now, where does Palmer Miller fit into the Miller crew? Or is it a different family?
Different family.
Gotcha.
So Palmer is S's Racing with Judd Miller, his father. And Palmer's done an exceptional job. Another young kid to come in to the series. And it's been an absolute pleasure watching him progress and watching his craft progress. I've been really impressed watching some of the onboard and some of our other live streams throughout the year, just how sort of much awareness he has. At COTA, fantastic move, working through the traffic, and he's a good young driver, one to watch out for in the years to come.
Good. So we're watching Radical Cup action from the North American Championship, and a very, very strong group of drivers, both young and experienced, some coming and starting off. Some have been doing it for many years, and the very best are out in action here in the finale, which will end tomorrow with another race. And the big story so far in this one is that race 1 winner this morning, Alex Papadopoulos, is not in contention for the win.
He's actually in pit lane at the moment. So they've taken the back off that car and having a look. Yeah, that's his motor race done, but I guess it's no time like the present to have a look at it and try and fix it for the next one. On screen, Gerhard Watzinger in the 320 machine, CrowdStrike Racing. Typically, we see 2 CrowdStrike cars. George Kurtz is another Radical competitor. He was racing in the Spa 24-hour race in a Mercedes. And after that, that sort of hampered his championship. Gerhard has been a strong competitor this year and has really impressed in the last couple of rounds. He did put some new panels on the car in Thursday practice.
I find it interesting that these well-established motor racing guys still like to come back and do Radicals.
Well, it just seems to be a car that you keep forever.
Right.
And genuinely, I mean, what's amazing about our customer base is that so often we see the same names time after time, and there's literally guys out there that are on their 4th, 5th Radical. So, yeah, the likes of Gerhard Watzinger have been at this and just love it. And we see here a pass. So, try and pick up the cards.
Yeah, I can't get the numbers yet, but I'll get to you.
It's one of the Team Stradale cars, I think.
Yeah, the light is just wrong for us at the moment. We've got the light shining, glaring at us, coming into the commentary booth. Now we see it 97.
So the 97, Zach Ping. Yeah. So actually, I lie, it's not a Team Stradale car. I think it may have been at some point in a former life.
Yeah, and this is hotting up into a nice little battle here. Jim Booth right there with him.
And Jim, one of those customers that's had, I think, every Radical that we've ever built. In fact, he's got a new SR10 on order. SR10, the latest iteration of Radical, and that features an EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo engine. In fact, the first car is being produced in the factory right now, and a demo car will hit the US shores shortly, as well as. So I think already there's been around about 20 of those sold into North America, and I anticipate that'll make up the bulk of the Masters class next year. At the moment, it's the SR8s that seem to be the car to have in that field. And of course, those powered by that V8 engine created by two Suzuki Hayabusas, effectively mated together.
Yeah, so when you say that, how do they mate them together?
So they take the cylinder blocks and the heads from the motorcycle engine, and Radical has developed its own crankcase and crank.
I see.
It's a flat plane crank engine. So basically the cylinder heads and as I say, the cylinder blocks themselves straight off the Suzuki power plant. Missick back on track.
Yep.
Working his way back up through, trying to make amends for that mistake early on. And there we have it, John Field, overall leader, starting to catch the back markers.
Yeah, now he's got a 4.3 second lead now over second place Judd Miller, and we'll now see if he can be effective through the traffic, because this is where Judd's got the best opportunity. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and if he can make up some time now and these back markers do slow him down, especially through this section here where you really can't overtake very easily.
No, you can't, and Field should be...
Well, that was good.
Yeah, Field should do this pretty easy given his American Le Mans experience and dealing with different powered and different speed cars. But another warning, if you like, given by race director Todd Snyder after race one was just to remind those faster cars that everyone's got the same respect should be given to all competitors, whether they're in the slower car or the faster car. Of course, there's 3 championships on the line.
Right.
So the 1340 guys, whilst they typically at the back of the pack, they're racing for their own championship.
Of course they are, yeah.
Chris Kemp is trying to take home a big trophy tomorrow at our awards banquet. And I just saw them. They're absolutely massive. We've done a great job of sourcing those. So some great hardware, and we actually have Italian Libe trophies that are flowing in for every round. The drivers have actually always got their eye on the Race 2 trophies because they feature the track shape. So they're a little bit more unique.
Yes, definitely. So John Field powering his way. Very smooth driver, I must admit. Gives them the signal.
Yeah, Chris Kemp just saying to Jordan Missick, hey mate, I see you. I'll let you by.
Now, what do you think? What's Judd's chances of catching him?
Well, I think this all depends on traffic, doesn't it? There's going to be a bit of a to and fro go on. You know, there's going to be times when really Field can dispatch those cars quickly on the straightaway, but if he catches one in a corner, he might have to give up a corner or two, and that's going to be the opportunity for Judd Miller to close the gap and perhaps have a go.
So we're getting into an interesting phase in this race now with 10 minutes to go. The field starting to mix now with the slower cars or the different groups of cars. Like you said, 3 classes involved. and different engines involved in terms of CC. So you'll now see the leaders having to weave their way through, and this is I think a very tough time for a guy leading a race, because you're going as fast as you can, but now you've got to react to other people's lines, other people's speeds, and other people's cornering speeds, and that's a different ball game than being in your own zone, isn't it?
Absolutely, and how things change. John Field just lapped Jordan Missing. That must be absolutely brutal. Only a few laps earlier, Missing was chasing down those SR8s. And of course, now he's getting lapped after that moment at turn 10 where he ended up in the gravel trap. Lucky to get out of that.
Oh, no, what's happened here?
What has happened? So, a wave to the crowd?
Doubt it.
I doubt it indeed. Judd Miller has had a bit of bad luck, the reigning champion this year. Although, is there dust at the exit of turn
dust
7?
at the exit of 7, but I still think there must be something wrong with Judd Miller's car for him to be waving out of the cockpit as virulently as he was. So we'll see where this story goes, because that was a strange maneuver with 19 minutes to go. There's certainly no waving to the crowd.
He does have a lot of family members here.
Yeah,
I know
maybe.
That.
Maybe he's confident enough to wave to the family.
I think I can see the safety car looks like it's standing up. It hasn't quite released from the end of pit lane, but I think we've had an incident at the exit of 7.
And that might be why he was signaling, because he knows the cameras, they've all slowed down. So, and the safety car is out. So maybe he was just trying to warn, because he knows there's cameras on the track.
So Ryan Bjerke on screen, car 12, and one of the older generation SR3s following around. And there's full course caution. We haven't had a picture of the scene yet. That's down through the S's, isn't it?
So we are under caution here in our Radical Cup North America race, the second one of the day, and more action to follow tomorrow.
At the moment, in the 1500 class, because I know a lot of people are interested in that one, it's Indiao Miller from Steve Jenks, Palmer Miller, and actually no, Steve Jenks is falling down through the order. So I think we've found the car that's come a cropper.
This is out towards turn 6.
So now it's...
Oh, no, this is the main straight these guys are on.
Al Miller, Palmer Miller, no relation, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Gerhard Watzinger back in a podium position. And then Greg Gorski, Mel Johnson, Ryan Bjerke. Yeah, and Steve Jenks has gone right down through the order. So what has happened with Mr. Jenks? Group A, Radical New York.
My guess is he's out before 6, which would make more sense as to why Judd Miller was waving out of the cockpit at that point.
Absolutely.
On the road course, he saw it and wanted to... aha!
So this is actually back in the
This is further back, yeah.
So maybe that dust was just a coincidence then.
Yeah.
Of course, Jenks was chasing Al Miller extremely hard. Can't quite see where that car's ended up.
No, but we're getting a good view from the drone as to why the safety trucks are there. So I think he's just gone straight on and maybe hit the barrier. But either way. An incident involving Steve Jenks has put us under safety. And the clock ticks down, and shouldn't take him long to get the car out of there.
Right. I've got another twist here in the storyline, I think. Well, I think I just saw Steve Jenks leave pit lane after changing a tyre.
Oh.
So I don't know who that is down there in the S's, we think, right?
Yeah. At the top of the crest, actually, so between 2 and 3, which is blind for the drivers.
So it's always hard at Road Atlanta being in the commentary booth, isn't it? Because the rest of the track is over the hill. And of course, some of the shots here being later in the day, we've got a fair bit of sunshine casting some big shadows as well. Great weather, though, here at Road Atlanta. after what has been a pretty cold week. On screen, another local. It's the 4.18 of Nick Pearson. And then
still 15 minutes to go in this race as we look from just beyond that incident, looking down from 3 down towards 5, what is classically known here at Road Atlanta as the S's, quite rightly.
So I think if I do a little bit of math on the spot, India Miller at the moment is back in front of Greg Gorski in terms of the Pro 1500 class championship if everything remains the same and there's no penalties to apply or anything like that. Terry Olsen at the moment is effectively losing 10 points to John Field, but that won't affect the point standings.
He's got Steve Jenks is there. There you go.
Yeah, so Jenks did come back.
Sorry to have involved you in that incident, Mr. Jenks.
Yes. Well, probably quite the relief for Group A. A little bit of relief. It's never good when a car comes into pit lane during a sprint race, is it? Because really,
something's wrong if that's the case. Yeah.
And you know the race is pretty much done at that point. But Jenks needs to circulate. Now, they do get points for effectively starting the race, but every point counts. As you know, in a championship, it could come down to the difference between Jenks going back out or not, depending on how they timed it, of course. If they may have not gone a lap down or too many laps down anyway.
So drama indeed here with 13 minutes to go in our Radical Cup North America race. And the safety car leads the field around. We've had an incident at the top of the hill here at Road Atlanta. We're not too 100% sure exactly what that incident involves because we can't see, per se, a driver stroke car not on track. But we may be wrong at that point because we thought it was Jenks at first, but he's back out. So drama indeed.
Drama indeed. I'm still a bit baffled looking at the timing of the score to try and work this out. So I think I'm going to stop doing that.
Yeah, all will be revealed. And it doesn't, I don't mean to be funny, but it doesn't matter in that respect. We know that they wouldn't have just done it for the sake of it. And obviously it was serious enough for Judd Miller to wave his hands quite literally at the marshals coming into 6 to warn them that something was a foul, because it looked as for us at one point that he was waving to the crowd, but of course that wouldn't be the case.
He was acknowledging the marshals, yeah. So when we go racing again, there's going to be quite a few lapped cars between John Field and Judd Miller. So that will be a little reprieve for the driver of 37, Mr. Field. I'm really excited to see what happens in the 1500 class when we go green again. Al Miller, Palmer Miller, Gerhard Watzinger, Greg Gorski, Mel Johnson. All of those guys could win this motor race. They've all been on the podium this year. Mel Johnson's taken a race win. Al Miller has too.
Wind's getting up here. A little bit more breezy than it has been so far this day, but it's still a glorious day, mid-70s, almost 80 degrees here. And I would have thought the track temperature now, with the sun been blazing down in clear blue skies, just a puff of cloud now and again.
Eric Wagner leading.
Now, we do have a damaged radical, and we can now see it. And it is Ryan Kelly, 88. So, all is revealed.
All is revealed. Well, no wonder we couldn't see it. It gets pretty dark on screen there, doesn't it, that car? But he's definitely backed it in there. You can see the damage on the rear wing, and that's a real shame.
Yeah, I think what he's done is he's dabbed the brakes on, maybe a little too hard on the crest of the hill, you know, thrown the back end to the right, and then gone into the barriers there, which is why we wouldn't see it, because it's almost a little bit of a blind, it is a blind crest anyway, but it also is not the easiest place, because once goes out of shot there, it's hard to sort of see where exactly he ended up, but we saw from the drone that he was parked to the right, and well, that's what's happened. Ryan Kelly is the
something's going on there at the back of the field, but I think we're about to go green here.
Yes, we are.
John Field looks like he was ready to go.
A 10-minute sprint then. John Field leads the field. And number 48 of Jordan Missing is now up to second place. And here comes, for a moment there, Judd Miller jinking out as he heads up to that turn 2 where the previous incident was. But we're back underway.
Oh, it's going to be a great battle now. Look at Terry Olsen all over the back of Judd Miller. And back in the pack, I can see Indy Miller was side by side with someone. So I think the 1500 class battle is going to really heat up now.
Oh, look at this. Good battle at the front going into turn 6.
Yeah, so look at that. Behind them, it's too wide, all back down through the field. And I reckon that was Al Miller side by side with Palmer Miller. So that's for the win in 1500.
They're really going for it now with 9 minutes. We've got about 3-4 laps to go here in this one, and they're really realizing now that the championships are on the line and tightening up.
It's just an awesome shot from the drone.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
These cars streaking down this curved back straightaway here at Road Atlanta. Sail down that thing. There's a bit of undulation as well, and then right at the end of it, you go down a dip into the braking zone. It's a big moment under brakes as you come into 10A and then try to keep it as flat as possible through 10B.
Well, John Field's done a really good job on that last lap to gap the rest of the field, because he really did put an excellent lap in. And now you can see the chasing pack bouncing over the curves. Got to be careful. It's easy to unbalance the car and go sideways quickly.
There is so much racing happening back down through the field as well. I was just watching out the window. The cars going into turn 1. Awesome stuff. So all throughout this field. So as usually happens, the safety car period, packing everyone up.
Sure.
And everyone getting racy again.
Terry Olsen with another battle against Judd Miller as he did in the previous race. He won that battle.
And look at these cars streaking down into 6. I was surprised in race 1 how many attempts we saw at 7.
Yeah,
really
that
shocked
was
by that.
Bizarre, yeah.
Because it's not usually the biggest sort of passing opportunity.
Because you lose the drive if you don't pull it off.
Right.
Well, even if you do pull it off.
Absolutely. So Olsen now has dispatched Jordan Missing, of course, who's a lap down. Missig's certainly got some speed. You can see where he makes up for it, just in grit and determination, as opposed to having the extra legs of the V8 engine.
So the leaders coming through. At the back of this group is Jordan Missing, the Formula Regional single-seater driver, turning his hand to radicals and doing a fine job so far. Meanwhile, Judd Miller from Texas in the All-American flag painted radical. Terry Olsen right behind him in the 16, yellow, black and white. Losing ground a little bit to Judd.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll stick on this shot and see who comes through it. It is still Al Miller. So Indy Al Miller in the Blue Marble 500 machine from Palmer Miller. Then it's Gerhard Watzinger, Greg Gorski, Watzinger all under pressure from Gorski. There's a train of cars behind him. So he's going to have to watch out, because not only does Greg Gorski want to get through, Mel Johnson does as well. Ryan Bierke also in the hunt.
So in the 1500s, it's Indy Al Miller leading the way at the moment. Mel Johnson all the way down. He had a problem in the first race, but he's very much in this one. Zach Ping still in the top 10, just ahead of Nick Pearson.
Al Miller knows how to lead this class, but as we mentioned in race 1, he really had a messy last event at COTA. Lost a lot of points. Just a bit unlucky, but unfortunately he just seemed to be at the scene of every accident.
Yeah.
So he's just got to keep it calm. The moment, what he's got to think about, I'm sure One Motorsports on the radio will be telling him, his next competitor in the points is Greg Gorski.
Okay.
And Jenks had that issue with the tyre, so he's kind of out of the picture. So really all he needs to do is stay in his current position. He's got Greg Gorski by at least 2 positions, which means that he'll be back in the lead of the points.
Conrad Park, we just got a good glimpse of there. Here's the 44. Jeff Ping going 3 shot.
And then it was Jim Booth. Oh, a bit of a flame belching out the back.
Nice. And we're getting down to the business end now of this second Radical Cup North America race here at Road Atlanta, the finale of the season here as part of the big weekend for SVRA and Trans Am. Delighted to have Radicals on board for this race weekend, putting on a good show.
Eric Wagner in shot. He should be leading 1340s, if I'm not mistaken. And I tell you what, Turn 3 Motorsports, absolute class act outfit, because they had a lot of work to do to that car 20. They got Eric back out. Eric had luckily got the fastest lap of race 1, which meant he was on the pole for that class. And after coming unstuck in race 1.
Now the drone will give us a really good picture now of the leader. There he is coming through, and the gap between first, second and third now, because you can now see from high above just how much room he's got to deal with in the closing stages in this last 4 minutes of this race. And there are the top 3 coming through.
Yeah, and you've got to think this is just going to maintain this order, isn't it? There's quite a gap. Every driver looks pretty settled in. The white flag is out, indicating last lap. So John Field only has 1 more tour of this stunning racetrack.
And I get the feeling, bar a mistake, this is how they're going to stay.
Absolutely. Jordan Missig a lap behind. Interesting to see his lap times, because he's quick and he'll be trying to get back up the pointy end of the field or the grid for the final race of the season tomorrow morning. Of course, in that one we have a pit stop, a mandatory pit stop, so that'll be interesting.
Yes. So how do they do that? What do they do in that pit stop? They don't do anything physically, right?
It's a competition pit stop. They can adjust things, they can check over the car and what have you, but there's nothing required. They just have to get the time right. They've got a delta to target in terms of from pit in. And I think that is going to be interesting, because if you haven't noticed, the pit lane speed limit doesn't start in its usual IMSA spot. It's right under the bridge here, which means you're going to be coming down that hill, facing that wall into pit lane and doing the right-hander. It's going to be pretty epic, I think, some of these guys coming in for that pit stop. As over the hill for the final time, John Field.
John Field will take the checkered flag.
Congratulations.
Congratulations then to John Field, yes, and to our top 3. Very good indeed. A really good race from John Field. He took the lead when Papadopoulos basically succumbed to whatever problem he had, and then it was downhill from there on in. But John Field gapped the field at the beginning of the restart, and then from there on in they were just chasing his tail.
And Indy Al Miller pumping his fist. He knows what that one means.
Yeah.
That's back in the lead of the points for the 1500 class championship. So Al Miller taking the win there from, I just want to get this right because it was Palmer Miller in the end, then Gerhard Watzinger. So another podium for Watzinger. Congratulations to him. Greg Gorski finishing 4th in that class, just outside that podium position and collecting a bit of silverware. And we're waiting for the winner of 1340. But it's Eric Wagner who will take the class win in 1340 from Chris Kemp, Jeff Ping. Well, a much better start.
Yes.
And dare I say, a much better motor race. That was a great one.
In some ways, yes. There was a lot of excitement in the first race, but this one was a more standard race, but some strange incidents. One that we weren't so sure of, with Kelly going out and causing quite a delay in terms of the actual race itself. Papadopoulos going out early, and then John Field really dominating the latter part of this race, and done in good style here. Classic Radical racing. And we confirm that John Field is your winner by 1.9 seconds over Judd Miller. Terry Olsen in the yellow and black and white takes third. And Andy Alminer, as you say, wins there in the Pro 1 class in fourth overall, ahead of Palmer Miller, Gerhard Watzinger in sixth, Greg Gorski in seventh, Steve Jenks eighth, and Ryan Berjerki in ninth position. Conrad Park in 10th. My thanks to Tom Drewer for taking us through the Radical Cup Feature Race 2. They'll be back in action tomorrow morning. Do you know what time?
We're early, so we're hopefully rolling out at about 7:55 a.m.
All right.